All right, welcome back, everyone. And we have another guest that makes me feel honored, okay, to have on here. This is for those of you that don't recognize the face, which is probably going to be a bunch of people, because you are the written word kind of guy. You're a radio host guy, right? This is Charlie Burchfield, and I just want to give some of his credentials. There's too long of a list for me to mention all of them. Okay, so I'm just gonna put some of them out there for you. Had the Gateway Outdoors radio show.
Correct.
Has the Gateway Outdoors weekly column that you
Correct.
can find, have been able to find in just a sample. The Daily Press, the Courier Express, the Cane Republic, the Game News, Outdoor News. Right, he's written for if you pay attention to bylines on outdoor related articles, you've seen his name. So you've read his content that he's put out there, I guarantee.
It's good we're on radio or podcast because that way they can't see my face.
Well, you see that right there? They
Oh,
can
no,
see your
they can't.
face.
Oh, bummer.
So one time a year that I'd put a camera on for me. So the reason why I have Charlie here today is because, one, you've been at this for a while. Being an outdoor communicator, and you have a lot of experience to draw on and talk about, and I think that's a good thing. But also because I want to highlight something that I've just come to in the last 2 years, and that's the Pennsylvania Outdoor Writers Association. POWA, the executive director, was kind enough to stop by a booth a couple years ago here at Elk Expo and introduce me to the organization and hand me an application. And since then, I've become a member. I've attended one conference, and I have made so many connections with not just other outdoor writers and outdoor content creators, but also the supporting members of POWA that provide us with a lot of content to get out to the general public. So we're here to talk about POWA, okay, Pennsylvania Outdoor Writers Association. So what is, and before I forget, you're a former president,
That's correct.
right? So you've been committee member, right? Like you've worked all through to help the organization. So you know the ins and outs. So what is POWA for those of the people out there that were like me and have no idea that this organization even exists, right? Unless you're a member, what is the Pennsylvania Outdoor Writers Association?
It's really not as complicated as you make it. Well, the Pennsylvania Outdoor Writers, we're coming up on our 75th anniversary year, and that'll be the year after next. But the thing about the organization, it was put together and designed to have a group of outdoor writers come together and really work as a group. You learn from each other, like you found out in the conferences. Those annual conferences are very important because you get to meet members who have a wide variety of expertise. So they provide a lot of grist for your mill. The other thing is that you also get to rub elbows with our supporting members. When I say our supporting members, like Kika. Kika's a supporting member, a member of POWA. And the major gun manufacturers. Everything across the outdoor market you'll find smattered among the supporting members. In turn, we all grow from those folks, the interaction with them. But then at the conferences, we also have craft improvement programs, which is very important to keeping our members up to date. Also learning new markets. Markets have changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I started in the newspaper market, print media, and I'm still there, don't get me wrong. But I found a way to use modern technology to help me with my newspaper work. For example, my newspaper work can be found on the publication sites of those particular newspapers I work for. You'll look at outdoor news, you'll see some of it there. Same thing if you're a digital not a marketer, but if you're a digital subscriber to the Pennsylvania Game News, you can get that digitally. So I need to have that digital imprint to grow. The other thing that the organization does for its members is, again, that interaction between those supporting members. And it's amazing how many times I'll get a telephone call or an email. Are you interested in doing this? Or you want to take a look at this, that, or the other thing? So it provides me with a broader plate to pick and choose from, filter it out, and then present that to my readership or my listeners in the case of the radio. My radio was a little bit different when I did it. I had a digital recorder. I took it in the field, and that's where I recorded just about every program that I did. We didn't have a formal setting like you and I are in here right now.
Yeah,
which is
formal.
okay. I like the shade for a change.
Yes.
But the thing that helped me was the radio allowed me to then tie my radio work and my newspaper work together. So, not to be derogatory, but I prostituted my work in different ways, and it was good for the reader too, and it broadened my exposure to people that maybe they didn't feel comfortable maybe sitting down and doing an interview, but I could do it in the field, and they were like, I've been with Jeremy Banfield in the field. We talked about elk, and they captured an elk and things like that. So that was fun. Well, then my anglers, what do? I had a good friend of mine. We tied a fly on the radio. Now think about this. You take a hook, you put it in a vise, and then you take a feather and you wind that feather onto that hook. Then you pull the feather back, and those feathers just flare. And that provides the feet so that fly can stand on top of the water. Now, what you do is you try to get people to visualize that when you're talking about it. My buddy, he said, I don't know how the heck you're going to do this. I said, well, just work with me. And we did. We had a lot of fun with that. So the other thing about POWA is, in addition to exposing the membership to new and different things, we have a very robust, for the better word, a writing contest. It's craft improvement that we, want to continually improve ourselves on, and to test how well we've learned. We have our annual contest for outdoor communicators, and it's probably one of the most robust in the country you'll see in any other organization out there. Again, KECA, Keystone Elk Country Alliance, they sponsor a category. The trappers, they have a category as well. So, and you can go right down the line, and it helps us take the information that we've learned and gone and got exposure to during our meetings. It allows us to do better. How are we going to do better? Well, guess what? I won third. He didn't get anything. It's not that.
It's the friendly competition of it.
Yes.
To be recognized by your peers, right?
Yes.
That you have improved yourself and you have done something of consequence in your field. It makes you want to strive to do a little bit better and provide better content, which is going to benefit the average person because they're going to get even better content out, to read.
And like I always say, you can't BS the BSers. And it's sort of a funny situation because a lot of our sporting communities out here, whether they be the non-consumptive users, the consumptive users, they all have opinions. But it's our way to take maybe two sides of a story and find out what the truth is and meet in the middle. And I think that's important. It makes me a better communicator, and hopefully I can do the resource, maybe that we're talking about snowshoe hares.
Right.
We've trapped snowshoe hares, put transmitters on them, and set them out in the woods. That was fascinating to me. So over the years, just like you mentioned about trapping deer, and I've worked with elk and any number of other resources, it's allowed me to grow professionally and personally.
Yeah. So, we've talked a lot about how POWA helps people like you and me, people that are a part of the organization, and I alluded to how it can sort of benefit the general public. But what is it that provides the general public with quality? Like, why should someone who has no interest in writing or being on the radio or photography or anything like that, why should they be happy that this organization exists?
Because it's our job as communicators to find something interesting and different at times. Pontoon boat ride on Cinnamahoney. Why would I want to go there? Ride a pontoon boat or 47 acres of an impoundment? But that trip's different every time. So I'm now not only piquing the interest of our hunters and fishermen and people who don't believe there's over 100 species of dragonflies on that impoundment. Really, there are. And what the impoundment was for, that's not hunting and fishing. But if I can pique their interest and they may learn more about the resources that we have out there, whether it be plants, animals, or aquatic life, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm coming from an educator point of view, and I was actually shocked to find out just how many members of POWA are educators, right, or
Yes.
teachers. I thought I'd be like one of the few. It turns out there's a lot,
You're right.
because you might be a teacher, you might be an educator, professor, but you have this itch to be in the outdoors, right, and share that. And because you're an educator, it sort of lends itself to use this medium to also try to educate people and inform people, which I think is one of the best parts of the organization. Is it allows us to do, as you mentioned, do our jobs better, do what we're doing better, and it allows the general public to get almost a behind the curtain look at the Pennsylvania Game Commission, the Fish and Boat Commission, the DCNR, when we're putting out this information, these stories about trapping deer, about 100 different species on that impoundment. Like, then they're learning something, and as they're learning, they're realizing, hopefully realizing just how important these things are. And Pennsylvania is the kind of state that it's backbone of everything. You can talk about Pittsburgh being built on the steel industry. You can talk about, Philadelphia being the center of freedom. Sure, all that. The state of Pennsylvania is built on outdoors and conservation and the resources that we have here. So if we can educate the public on the quality things that people are doing, it's going to make it even better then.
We want to, like you said, educate. I feel like I don't consider myself a teacher, but yet I want to provide the reader with opportunity. Give them a gateway into where to find some of these things, how to enjoy them. And like you said, I would have never thought the plate was this broad when I first started. It may have been hunting and fishing that pushed me this way, but yet conservation is so interesting. And when you're with a bear biologist and you take your grandkids out with you, you get that opportunity. And they go back to class and they go, look, I got to do this. And like my son-in-law, he took photographs back to his classroom. And the kids back where he teaches at Seneca Valley couldn't believe that he was holding a black bear.
Yeah.
And then it gave him that segue to talk about the resource and the important work that's being done.
Yep.
And not be afraid, but how to coexist with bears in your backyard. We have to do that here. Everywhere anymore.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough to be able to watch how a trapped bear is, tranquilized, and how they process it, and they put the tattoo of the number underneath its lip, and they do the ear tag, and they take all these measurements and do all these things, and then at the end of it, I got to take a picture with this 250-pound black bear that's alive, right? And then I have that as the background in my classroom, right, up on the screen, and the kids are like, "Wait,
Did you really do that?
did you do?" And it's like that bear's alive. This is, and there's the biologists are with me and stuff. It's like that was a live bear. I got to, and I can talk to them about that process. And even though that's not my content area, I'm still teaching them something. And it's something that I'm passionate about, which is the outdoors. And the more that they're exposed to little things like that, little stories, little pieces of information, the better we're going to be in this state.
What I have been amazed at is how the plate has gotten larger. It's not just so narrow focused. Yes, we have all these gadgets and goodies that we use, and sometimes they can get people in trouble because, like I said to my grandkids, I said, let's go for a night hike. What do you mean, night hike? I'm going to teach you how to use your night eyes. What do you mean? I said, it was dark out there. Well, being from, the Freeport, Sarbury. Oh, it's dark at home. I said, no, it's dark up here because you don't have the extraneous light. So we walked out the lane from camp. The elevation of our camp's 2,475 feet in Potter County. Walked out, and I explained to them after we got out of the glow of the overhead light at our parking lot around the camp. I said, now start to feel with your feet. Feel your feet on the ground. And then after you look, your eyes, get accustomed to it, you'll be able to use your night. You'll be able to see better than you thought you could. Hey, Papa, guys, hey, you're right, and things like that. So I was able to broaden their experience. And what would happen if that young man was out somewhere, got stranded? At least he had that experience. And I always say, everybody needs to get thoroughly lost at least once in their life.
Accomplish that one.
And it's important because there are things, the way you feel are completely different. You
Yes.
feel very vulnerable.
Yes.
You don't know where you're at. And now, but I can use my cell phone. You know what one of the search and rescue guys told me in a seminar? I told the whole group. He said, use your cell phone, you get a ping, you get a center, you talk to somebody, or just ping and let you know each other where you're at. And he said, don't move. And one hand went up. Why is that? He said, I don't want to have to search for a moving target. If we have you pinged, then that's okay.
Right.
And then he went through a number of different scenarios to take people who are unaccustomed to be out in the outdoors, whether it's lost in the woods or in the wood, deep in the woods, or at night when you're stranded along the highway, and that can happen.
Yep.
Especially in the backwoods of Pennsylvania.
Yep.
We're not backwoods people, but
No.
on the other hand, there are places that there's a whole nothing between here and there.
Yeah, and no one else is driving by.
Exactly.
Maybe for a couple days.
I know.
So tell me like a story or two from over your career, that something that you covered that you're proud of, that you thought was interesting, that you're like, hey, that's something that's why that's why I like doing what I do.
It's not any particular story or column in particular, but it's the feedback that I get.
Oh, okay.
It's my wife worked in a public library. She was a librarian and worked there, and she would have people come in and whisper in her, "Oh, I like Charlie's column this week because I grew from that because I was able to find out what people liked about it, what they saw, and I would write different things. One day I'd write maybe about bird feeding and the importance of it and the care of bird feeders. Well, she got some feedback and gave it to me. That told me that people were willing to talk with her and express what they liked. And so I included a little bit more of that on a seasonal basis because I knew that there was a non-consumptive users out there that were picking up on that. So I wanted to feed them information. Now, she also got the other side of things, people whispering in her ear saying, wow, I told her, I said, you don't have to put up with that. I said, give them this open invitation. Meet with me for coffee. I'll take you for breakfast. I'll meet you with you somewhere and talk about it. Do you know how many people took her up on that offer?
I'm going to say it's less than 5.
0 is more appropriate. No, I don't mean to be critical, but people can say a lot of different things about the work that you do. But I try to be honest and forthright in all the work that I do. And that's the reason why POWA is so important. Because we work under rules of ethics in our work. We have the craft improvement projects. We have the excellent in crafts programs. So if I can either win or place in some of those categories, I feel it's a pretty stiff competition. And
Yeah.
I've been pretty lucky about something I did right.
Right.
to help
Yeah,
some-
and that first conference I went to, I didn't submit anything for the awards. I I just wanted to go and experience, right? And that was a great experience. I met people there that I've stayed in touch with over the last couple of years, right? And you know, being able to reach out to Paula and say like, hey, who would be a good person to talk to at Elk Expo that might be coming up, and your name comes up, right? So that's good experiences. And then this past year, I submitted a couple things. I didn't win, but that doesn't make me disappointed per se. That makes me feel like, okay, I have to get better at what I'm doing, right? I've looked at what the people that did win, what they did, and I was like, okay, I can see why they won. Okay, now I'm not going to do exactly what they did.
Oh, you can't.
I'm going to put my own spin on it, but it makes me feel like I need to hone what I'm doing. It's not good enough yet. And as someone who is an educator and is trying to make other people learn, again, I feel like that's a good thing that we're trying to improve ourselves, because the end users, the people that consume our information, are the ones that are getting the most benefit out of it.
One of the things that I'll pass along to you that was given to me early on is the owner and publisher of Pennsylvania Sportsman Magazine, Lou Hoffman. And he oftentimes took a number of us aside and just would chit chat or whatever. And a piece of advice he gave me, he says, you could write about XYZ till the cows come home. But he said, vary what you do, alternate your path, do different things, explore different areas. So I'm just very comfortable with going over and talking about pheasant hunting and what the Pheasants Forever group is doing, as well as maybe talking with the park rangers over here about the pontoon rides on Cinemahoning State Park.
Because what it does is that forces you to grow, right, and
to.
learn how to have those conversations.
That's the only way I can grow,
Right.
is by doing and expanding.
Yes.
But also be a resource. I want the readers don't read about me. You're not going to hear about me. It's not about me. It's about where we've been, the opportunities, how to get there, who you need to contact so that you can get immersed in it. State parks. Look at the state park programs. They're phenomenal.
The amount of public land in Pennsylvania that people have access to is unbelievable. It's unprecedented for the East Coast. Like what we have in total public land, percentage-wise, rivals what a lot of Western states have that are known for their public land.
And look at our position. From up in New England, the whole way down along the East Coast, you have this urban sprawl. But when you get to New Jersey, just come west.
Yeah,
And from there, it's
it's not that far, and you're past Philadelphia, and you're past Scranton, and it's outdoors.
Yeah.
It's wild places.
Well, actually, our last writers' conference was in the Scranton area, and I was surprised the ability to get away.
Yeah.
And I got caught up in a turkey hunt, which usually happens with me on those because they happen in the spring. But I always had a liking for stone walls. I grew up in the farm country of Blair County, and there were some stone structures down there, stone walls and things of that nature. But as you went further east and also south, there's like an arc across eastern Pennsylvania and an arc that goes down toward Gettysburg. And that's where you'll find stone walls, a lot of them. And the reason why they're there is because of agriculture, sheep herding.
Yep.
But anyhow, I grew up with that, and it's a really neat ecosystem. So when we got done with the turkey hunt, the guy that was guiding me said, "You're really into these stone walls." I said, "Boy, there's some beautiful, structures here," and they went for hundreds of yards. I think to myself, I'd like to see the guys that put that together. I want to see their arms and biceps. But they had a purpose, and they still have a purpose today. And sadly, some of those walls are being torn down, and they're being sold pennies on the dollar and go for landscaping work.
Yep.
But still, it's amazing what you see and what you learn. And like I say, the ecosystem that wall has, different times of the day, the stones are warmer on one side and another. Deeper into it, you'll find different insect life. You'll find chipmunks running across them all the time. So it's a nice place to, if you have some foxes in the area, they may be in there too hunting. It's just an structure that you would not have thought it'd be that busy.
Yeah, and that's to try to tie this all together as we wrap up is, you're talking about these experiences of seeing, right, and being interested in these stone walls, and that's what the organization and our jobs is taking these experiences we have and conveying them to other people so that they can have similar experiences, their own experience, but get them excited to be outdoors and do things. That is our main goal. That is what we're trying to do, and the organization allows us to do that more efficiently and better year after year after year.
Oh, you're absolutely hit the nail on the head. I mean, the palette of paint to work with is just unending.
Yes, especially in this state.
How far do you want to dig?
So for everyone out there that's interested in learning more about the PA Outdoor Writer Association, go to paoutdoorwriters.com. You can learn about the organization. If you're interested in becoming a supporting member or joining the organization, you can do that through the website. There's some contact information on there to contact Paula and the other members that are part of the, join membership committees and things of that nature. So really the easiest thing to do and place for me to send everybody is just paoutdoorwriters.com and learn more about this great organization that I have absolutely fallen in love with.
And you have the outdoor show over in Monroeville on an
Yep,
annual basis.
yep,
we have a booth there.
I'm on that committee this year, so
Good.
I will be there. They're also
The Eastern Sports and Outdoor Show.
Yep. So there's some different places that you'll see us around, and if you see the booth, stop and say hi, right?
yeah.
Because you may not recognize the faces, but you'll recognize the names once you say hi and the person introduces themselves.
Well, it's been a fun ride for me.
Yes.
I don't want to quit. I'm having too much
Don't
fun.
keep going
and
because
the
we like
technology-
having you around.
Well, thank you very much. but the technology helps me. I want to embrace the technology, but I
Good.
don't want to give up with the past.
No, there's a way to bring them both together.
Exactly.
And the fact that you're doing it makes me happy because, like I said, we want to keep guys like you around. Because I, as a younger member of the organization, have a lot to learn, right? And I can learn the most by talking to people like you. So stick around. The older guard needs to pass on that wealth of information that you guys have.
And you need to stay involved and get heavily involved.
Hey,
as much as you want.
We're getting there.
All
We're
right.
getting there.
Okay. All right. The audience out there, our listeners, they don't see the twist marks on your arm, do they?
No.
Okay, all right.
No. We'll put a little blur up on that. But Charlie, thank you. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much for allowing me to join you today.
Absolutely.
It's been fun.
Yes.
And it's good to get back behind the microphone again.
Good.